Hello and welcome to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host Calvin, and joining me from a literal bubble in Orlando, Florida, it's your co-host Nick Richardson.
You know, if there was any place to have a bubble, Orlando's probably the place to do it.
I guess.
The Disney bubble.
Well, yeah, Disney's the place to do it, but the rest of Orlando can suck it. Like, it's just, yeah, there's so much traffic, and it's annoying, and I hate it.
It's a hotter Chicago.
Sometimes. Yeah, kind of. Very muggy Chicago. So we're talking NBA bubble today, and this happens to be a very serendipitous day to be recording this episode because as of earlier this afternoon, Wednesday, August 26th at about 4 p.m., the NBA teams decided they were going to boycott playing in the bubble.
I thought that was, yeah.
No, it's a great thing, and we will talk about it in a minute. Let me just get the facts out first. So the Milwaukee Bucks started the boycotting. They boycotted Game 5 where they're up in the series 3-1 right now. So it was a clinching game. And technically they forfeited that game, but they're playing against the Magic, and the Magic were like, no, we're good. They declined the forfeit, and so the game was postponed. And then the next two games, the team said that they were also going to boycott, so they got postponed as well. And I'm going to assume that it's going to happen tomorrow with the games as well. And this is all in response to the Jacob Blake shooting that happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is about 40 miles south of Milwaukee. So I'm pretty sure that's why Milwaukee started it, because that hits very close to home for them.
It was horrendous. Fucking
yeah,
horrendous.
It was not good. Don't watch the video if you haven't seen it. It's not a fun thing to watch. And I just want to read this from the Washington Post. It's the initial post that went up when the Bucks first decided they were boycotting. The title is NBA Playoffs Come to a Halt, Games Postponed as Players Protest Social Injustice. I'm just going to read the whole article, so stick with me for a minute here. Days after the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the Milwaukee Bucks did not take the court as scheduled for Game 5 of their first-round playoff series with the Orlando Magic on Wednesday, leading the NBA to postpone the day's triple-header. Game 5 between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets, as well as Game 5 for the Los Angeles Lakers and Portland Trail Blazers, were also scheduled for Wednesday. Those games will be rescheduled, the NBA said in a statement. Bucks guard George Hill was among multiple NBA players to question whether games should continue in the light of ongoing social justice protests around the country. Hill said Monday that NBA players shouldn't have even come to this damn place, to be honest, because playing in the bubble, quote, took all the focal points off what the issues are. And just break on that for a minute, there were several NBA players, mostly led by Kyrie Irving, saying that exact thing before the bubble started. I don't think it's the right time to play. There's too much going on. We've got too much momentum with the movement. We need to keep it going. And I think to an extent he was kind of right, because basketball started up, there are sports on, people's minds kind of drifted away from, what's still going on in Portland, what happened now in Kenosha the other day. There's still injustices going on, and this gave people something to distract themselves with.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, continuing on. The Bucks and Magic were scheduled to play the first game of a playoff triple-header on Wednesday with scheduled tip time of 4 p.m., but only the Magic took the court for the traditional pregame warm-ups, with the Bucks remaining in their locker room. So don't get mad at the Magic for taking the court. They didn't know the Bucks were going to do this ahead of time. Yeah, I think if Milwaukee had made it known that they were going to boycott, I think the Magic would have stayed in the locker room too.
Probably.
But everybody was kind of figuring it out at the same time. When the game clock ticked down to the few minutes before the scheduled tip-off, the Magic left the court and returned to their locker room. Bucks players began emerging from the locker room around 4:35, walking past a group of reporters but not stopping to make any statements. Bucks players Chris Middleton and guard Dante DiVincenzo were both dressed in their team-issued gear as if they had been ready to play. Hill wore a black t-shirt with a Barack Obama quote on the front and changed the narrative on the back. Bucks GM John Horst briefed reporters around 4:40 p.m., indicating that the team would remain in the locker room for some time and might not address the media on Wednesday evening. We're not coming out for a while, Horst said. There will be a team statement. The Bucks franchise has had multiple incidents with police brutality and racial profiling in recent years. Bucks guard Sterling Brown sued the city of Milwaukee after he was injured during an incident with police. The former center John Henson spoke out publicly after he was denied service by a Milwaukee jeweler. A group of Bucks players turned out for a July protest in Milwaukee with t-shirts that bore some of George Floyd's last words, "I can't breathe." Brown, DiVincenzo, Brooke Lopez, Frank Mason III, reigning MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, and his brother Thanasis joined the crowd. So that's what's going on in Milwaukee. Thank you, Ben Golliver of the Washington Post, for writing that article and providing us with something to talk about.
That's intense, man.
Yeah.
It's warranted, I think, though.
I agree. I think it's right. The players are, right now, they're willing to suspend the season to work towards change, and that's awesome. And LeBron is actually seeming to be at the forefront of it right now, which is exactly where he should be. I had this whole thing at one point planned in this episode to kind of go after him a little bit, because he doesn't ever seem to step to the forefront. He kind of does these things off to the side and make sure that everything's focused on him but here it's none of that. He's up front. He's trying to get more pressure behind the movement, which is great. That's where he should be.
Yeah, he's still one of the biggest names in sports.
Absolutely. And he has very little to lose. He's not about to lose sponsorships with Nike. He's not going to lose a job in the NBA. And that was one of the things, like when Kaepernick was going on, LeBron had this opportunity to be bigger than it all, to go out there, because like LeBron's not going to get blackballed from the NBA, right?
No, there's
hopefully
zero chance.
I would hope not, especially in the NBA, which is much more forward thinking than the NFL. I think it's going to be hard for us to talk about what's going on in the bubble, because that's the plan, was to kind of go through, what's been going on in the bubble, how the bubble was formulated, how the playoffs are going to play out. It's going to be tough to talk about that when, by the time this comes out on Monday, the bubble may not even exist anymore. I don't know. They could all just say they're not playing the rest of the season, and that would be the end of it.
I would not be surprised.
Right. Or the NBA could call it, and they could say, our players need to be out there, boots on the ground, doing things, affecting change. We're still going to have the rest of this conversation that we plan to have. And if the league gets suspended before Monday, this episode probably won't even be released, so you won't even know that we had this conversation. So you won't know what's going on. So it'll be fine.
It'll be fun. No, it's perfect.
But we are going to talk about everything we plan on what's actually going on basketball-wise in the bubble and how that's working after we finish this. This came up just today, right before we're recording, so I feel like we have to address it, because if we didn't address it at all, that'd be weirder, right?
Right.
Do you have anything else to say on the boycotts, and what do you think will happen moving forward? Do you think they resume? Do you think they just give it a couple days to really make their point and then go back? Or do you think this is going to be some long-running thing until they can actually get some voices heard?
I think the third option. I think it'll last as long as the NBA wants it to last.
Allows it to, yeah.
Right. Because, they know exactly what the players want, and they made it very clear, and that's something I can respect about it, is it's not something where there's 10 different voices coming out saying we want X, Y, and Z. They've already united. They're already, obviously, by all these teams starting to boycott and shit pretty unanimously. That's a lot. Like, they're sacrificing a lot. All these men are, and to do this in a unified manner.
It's one thing for LeBron, but the 13th guy on the Magic's bench, like, he's not benefiting from this in any way, but he's still, they're all still there together, and I think that's important. I would only say that the problem here is they're not asking the NBA for anything, right? So there's nothing the NBA can do. The NBA can do a lot to help them push their voices forward. Like, they can all work together with Adam Silver and the rest of the NBA as an organization, which would be great and is probably going to happen. But I see it more I don't see it being this drawn out thing where we're going, is it going to come back? Is it not going to come back? I would say by Monday we would have an answer of, all right, we're getting back to basketball, or no, we're done with this. We're blowing it up. We're going out there to do what needs to be done, because these guys, I don't think they want to be in the bubble that much. They've been there for 3 months. Yeah, and if it is this thing where, like, well, when we see real police reform coming, then we'll get back to playing, that's too nebulous. It's not going to happen in a way that's apparent right away. Like it's this whole process of rebuilding the entire system, which is probably what needs to happen anyways. And the NBA and the players can push that in their own communities, but it's not going to be this thing where, okay, in 3 weeks all the police force is reformed all across the country. Like, that's not going to happen. So I think they'll come to a decision pretty quickly whether they want to play and use their voices while they play, or they decide we're blowing this thing up so we can go out there and let our voices be heard in the way that is more helpful.
I think that's extremely reasonable, and that's very likely. But I could also see the NBA agreeing to, like, I don't know, shave a game further down the line for each matchup or something. Just little things. And just shortening the season. It's like, you put up these next couple weeks and you can use your voice at the same time in any way you see fit, as long as it's not, repulsive and stuff like that.
Right.
And then we'll shorten the season up a little bit, get you guys out of here to go about your business. And that way you don't have to worry about, exposing your teammates and stuff like that. You just have to worry about you. And whether
something I had heard is that they were already speeding up. They were trying to speed up the playoff process as it is. We're getting games every other day. There's no travel involved, which is helpful for that. And they are going... They have advocated, the players have advocated for, so in the past, round 1 would have to be completely finished before round 2 would start. So even if both teams that were playing each other in round 2 swept their series, they would sit there and wait until round 2 officially started. They're advocating for, no, we're both done, we're getting on the schedule next. So they're already trying to speed up that playoff process a little bit before any of this. Just because they don't want to be stuck there. Like, they're stuck there, they can't go anywhere, and we'll get into some of the rules of the bubble in a little bit, but they're stuck there. And they don't want to be, like, they want to be there, they want to play, they want to win championships, but at the same time, they don't want to be there for 6 months.
No, I don't think anybody would want to be there for 6 months.
No.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody that'd be like, yeah, man, I'd totally fucking go there, but I don't want to do that for 6 months. No thanks.
So, as I said, this is scheduled to come out Monday, August 31st. If there is any hope that the season actually resumes, or it has resumed by that time, the rest of this episode will come out as normal. If we see something where, okay, we're done with the bubble, we're just going to move on, everybody can go, do their social justice, whatever they need to do for that, then this is where the episode's going to end. So, if we're still going, then you made it. Congrats. Basketball's back. And for the rest of this discussion, we're just going to assume the bubble starts back up relatively soon and continues basically as it was before.
I love it.
Is everybody there?
We're fucking here, bro. We're here,
so
bro.
We'll either have a 12-minute episode or an hour and a half episode. We'll see. Or you'll see. So, let's say, what is the bubble and why is it happening?
The bubble, man. It's this thing that Jake Gyllenhaal, he's in there because he's a sick guy. He's real sick.
That's the bubble boy.
That's the bubble man, bubble boy, bubble NBA playoffs.
They stole that idea from Seinfeld, but you'll learn that next week.
Oh, God damn it. Fucking Seinfeld. Here we go.
It's everywhere, man.
But no.
You just wait till next week. I'm so excited.
I'm looking forward to it, too, because I'm just going to let you riff at me, and then I'm going to see what's up.
Yeah, so the 2019-2020 NBA season was suspended shortly after All-Star break due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It actually stopped March 11th was the last game. And then, so in order to resume, they decided that they were all going to come to the Walt Disney World campus in Disney World. I think I said that already. In Orlando. And 22 teams were invited here. And they were mostly isolated except for Disney employees and other visitors that were staying in the same hotels. And the 3 hotels that the players are staying in are the Grand Floridian, great hotel, the Yacht Club, and Coronado Springs. Some people have issues with Coronado Springs. It is not one of the better hotels at Disney World.
They all sound fancy as shit, though.
The Grand Floridian is the fanciest, and it's really very fancy.
Like, how fancy? Are we talking, toilet paper is definitely Charmin in every bathroom there?
Yeah, it's like a fucking castle. fancy.
Oh, nice. I like castles.
I mean, the hotel looks nothing like a castle, but like that's
the vibe you get.
Yeah, exactly.
It is called the Grand Floridian. It's pretty.
It's very old Florida looking though. If you know,
I don't know
that.
what that means.
Like
I assume
pastel colors, palm tree decorations all over the place, that kind of stuff. Like if you've ever stayed in a beach hotel or a beach house, it's how those are usually decorated, and it's kind of ugly.
Swamps and adobe.
But it's fancy ugly.
Fancy ugly. Nice.
So while they're all on this campus, there's a bunch of additional rules in place about how and when players could move within the facilities, and when or how or if they could leave. We had a couple people have to leave and come back. We'll talk about those later. Most notably Lou Williams, who went home for a funeral and was at also either before the funeral, after the funeral, while he's home for the funeral in Atlanta. He also visited one of the premier gentlemen's clubs of Atlanta. Magic City, you may know it from the song Welcome to Atlanta.
Sounds
and he got caught red-handed being there, and so when he got back, he had to quarantine extra.
Do you think they have people tailing these guys?
No, there were like pictures on Instagram.
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Be a normal dumbass
Celebrate.
And get a hooker and a bunch of cocaine and hole up in a fucking hotel.
Actually, no, I think he posted it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, because he was getting their wings. Apparently Magic City has these great lemon pepper wings. And so he posted a picture of those wings on social media. So,
like, I mean, you got to put a little blurb in there, but like, my buddy, he fucking hooked me up with his.
Well, I think somebody called him out on it, and he's like, Uber Eats, my dude, or something like that.
It's like, no, I'm rich, bro. I paid this dude $1,000 to be super careful and give me.
Had one of the strippers when they got off their shift. They grabbed some lemon pepper wings and brought them to me. All right, it's fine.
And fucking blew me after that. Here's a receipt. You see it right here? It's just some crayon written on a napkin on like some hotel station.
I paid for wings.
Yeah, the number 4, and $12 or like $3.50 because he has no idea how much wings actually cost in the real world because they're fucking expensive.
I don't know if you know about the history of Lou Williams, but he is as Jalen Rose would say, he's a champagne and campaigner. Like, he is out there all the time, and he's a party guy. He likes to have fun. So like, it was, when it happened, everybody's like, no doubt Lou Williams is the first one to break the rules by going to Magic City.
He's like, he caught me. Oops. These wings, though.
Gotta get that lemon pepper, man.
Dude, lemon pepper wings are fire if they're made right.
Not a fan of lemon pepper. I've had
dry rub lemon pepper wings.
Maybe if I got them from Magic City, I'd change my mind.
I mean, it helps having a pair of tits in your face.
So play restarted on July 3rd.
Let me say this. Do you think they're all greasy? All strippers just have like a layer in between their boobs.
Oh, I got you now. The
Gross.
Strippers are greasy because of the wing sauce.
Dudes are just sitting there like sucking their fingers.
They've got like the orangish red handprint on their ass because they got the wing sauce, and then
all the dollar bills got to get like steam cleaned and shit before they take them to the bank because their eyes burn from all the hot sauce. It's like, yo.
So play officially restarted on July 30th. The first game was between the Utah Jazz and the New Orleans, not the Hornets, the New Orleans Pelicans. Utah won the game, and Rudy Gobert notably scored the first and last points of the first bubble game, and he's pretty much the dude that kicked it all off. He was pretty much patient zero for the NBA, one of the first guys to be infected with coronavirus in the NBA, and if you don't remember from way back in March, he did a post-game press conference, like right at, like everybody was really starting to take it seriously, and I don't remember why he did it, but they like pissed him off with the questions, and he just stood up silently and touched all the microphones before he left.
He like coughed
and then the next day he tested positive for coronavirus.
This dumb bastard.
Yeah. So after that's pretty much what got the league shut down, and then he's the guy to score first basket of the bubble and the game-winning points of the first bubble game.
That is so poetic. It's like, man, I don't want to touch
really
this.
is.
I don't want to touch the ball to start the game. Then they get into the game, they're playing, they forget about it, and then it's the end of the game, they're like, man, I really don't want to touch that ball anymore. That dude's all sweaty. Fucked it. He's kind of a piece of shit, man. Like, he got his teammates sick.
Mic touching is a tough look, and yeah, Donovan Mitchell most likely caught it from him. Yeah, it's tough.
You think those guys fought? Like, met up, like, we're just gonna fight really quick.
I know there was definitely some heat between them when it first happened. Like, Donovan Mitchell was pissed.
I'd be fucking pissed too.
So, yeah.
But like, dude, I gotta go get locked up in this bubble. I can't get no chicks.
March seems like it was like 15 years ago, so I don't remember exactly.
It does, man. 2020 can blow me.
Yeah, agreed. So each team got 8 final quote-unquote regular season games within the bubble leading into the playoffs. These were the seeding games to see, where everybody fell 1 through 8. And then the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies got 3 additional play-in games to decide who actually got the 8th seed in the West. There's no fan attendance inside the bubble, but there is a 17-foot TV screens were installed, allowing 300 virtual fans to attend at a time.
This is stupid.
It's weird.
How much do they pay for that shit? It's like, yeah, I paid $4,000.
I don't think they do. I think you just got to be like
in a lottery,
the first
basically.
one on the Zoom. Yeah, like there's a kind of like a line process in Zoom, I believe. I don't know. I didn't look that far into that. Probably should have, since we're talking about this.
Dumb.
So, Nick, what are your thoughts on the bubble as an idea?
I think it's a brilliant idea. I mean, what other options do you really have when it comes to something like this? Because ultimately you either have a season and you do something drastic like this, or you don't have a season and you just kind of... I mean, most people are like, yeah, just don't have a season. That's the easiest route. But
except they're already in the middle of their season.
Right, and there's a shitload of money on the line, and it's just... a lot of livelihoods and stuff like that. There's a lot of pressure to have a season. The American public, we're filled with angst right now. We need something to watch.
To do.
Yeah. And I think the way they put this into effect, which was it wasn't something where they initiated it and the rules are loose and people are flagrantly like flaunting it and not getting in trouble. Like, this shit is strict from the get-go.
They had a very solid plan from beginning to end of how everything's going to work, which is more than I can say for at least the school systems in Florida, but I think probably the school systems pretty much everywhere. Of like, they were just we're not going to figure this out. We're going to let it figure itself out. And that didn't happen. Like, down here, they had from, let's say, April, when it looked like, okay, school's definitely not coming back for the end of last school year. They had from April to the middle of August was when school was supposed to start 2 weeks ago. And they made zero plan. And then, like, the week before school was supposed to start, they start going, yeah, they started having all these meetings and doing press conferences and trying to, like, answer questions that should have been answered 3 months ago.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like, they plan into high gear, and then they had to delay the start of school because they did absolutely nothing to make a plan. And then they took the next 3 weeks to make a plan, and the plan they came up with is still not great, but it's better than the first 3 months where they made zero plan.
It's kind of how it was here, but they demanded, basically, they kind of left it to the people. I'm in a very red area, and they were all like, yeah, these kids need to go back to fucking school.
I live in Florida, so yeah, very red.
Yeah,
also.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Well, 2 big schools around me went back to school, and within 5 days they were closed. And so everything's virtual now. And ironically, they closed my daughter's daycare. So I've been a stay-at-home dad this whole week.
Well, that's fun at least.
It took a lot of getting used to initially.
Yeah. But back to the bubble, I agree with you completely. I like the idea. It's clearly the safest option that we've seen so far for sports. Hockey has a similar bubble going on. The WNBA has a similar bubble going on. They all seem to be working pretty well. But hockey's boring. And, the WNBA can be fun, but I don't pay that close attention to it. So that's why we're talking NBA.
Went to high school with a girl that's in Alex Harden. She's in
I think you told me about that.
Yeah, WNBA.
Shout out.
I think she's on the Sparks or something.
Baseball had basically no restrictions, and they've had a ton of cases, at least relative to NBA and hockey and WNBA. NFL training camps have opened recently, and they're having some positive cases as well. Not as many as baseball, but they're also not moving around with games and stuff yet. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, baseball's pretty flagrant.
There have been 0 cases inside the NBA or WNBA bubble. I don't know about hockey because I didn't look that up, but I know NBA and WNBA haven't had any. Even with Lou Williams going to Magic City on his leave, still no cases.
It's the wings, man. He's found the vaccine.
Yeah, it's all in that lemon pepper.
Yeah, lemon pepper dry rub wings.
If you've seen Atlanta, Donald Glover's show, like in the 3rd episode, they get those magic lemon pepper wings. It's the same thing.
Those are the same thing?
No, well, those weren't from Magic City. That was just from somewhere else. But like that's what I'm saying. The lemon pepper wings in all of Atlanta are apparently magic.
Okay, that makes. I've seen that episode. Yeah. Those wings.
No, they were not at Magic City. They were at like some diner or something.
So those have the really good wings. I'm about to make some wings this weekend.
I might have to now too that we're talking about.
Yeah, some lemon pep.
I think it's been really fun to watch. I've been pretty much all in. Usually, I'm not all in on an NBA season, like a regular season. I catch it here and there. I'm all in on All-Star Weekend, and then I kind of ramp up as the playoffs go on. I like the virtual crowd. I like that it's there, but I would hate to be a virtual crowd member. That seems like the absolute worst way to watch a game. Just like sitting at your computer, watching it on your computer screen while you're also in a little fucking Zoom camera box at the bottom. Like, no, give me my big screen. Let me watch it in comfort on my couch. I don't want to be watching a game on Zoom while being on Zoom.
Well, I mean, I would probably just I would watch my big screen and then have it set up to see my reaction or something.
Yeah, that's probably what a lot of people do. But
like, you know that shit lags, dude. You already know.
Oh, that's true. Right now, if I'm watching a game and I got to get up and take a shit, grab it on my phone or my tablet and go with it. You can't do that on Zoom. And I'm surprised we haven't seen it yet.
Just virtual stand, you catch like flashes of people's ass cheeks and pubes and shit. It's like hear huge rips going off. That'd be fucking hilarious. How do you play ball with that?
I don't know. It would be difficult. I like that all the players have this constant interaction and they're bumping into each other between games and stuff like that. I think that's a really cool wrinkle. Because like so we see it in the Clippers Mavericks series right now of like tensions are just rising with every single game. And I think that's because they can't get away from each other. Like it's one thing to have a heated game and then you both go back to separate hotels. Well, one team's got to travel and the other one's at home. All right, like, but no, you're staying in the same hotel. You're running into each other at whatever the cafeterias are, things like that. But
they have room service actually. They have drop-offs 3 times a day.
Yeah, I think they can do both. I think there are common areas where they can go eat because there was Jamal Murray from the Nuggets saw Donovan Mitchell out like eating after they beat him one day.
Oh.
So that like they can go in and out of their hotel rooms within the campus. I could see how it would wear down after a couple months though. You get no guests.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
They're not getting pussy. Smoking weed. You already know, dude. They're gonna be fucking pissed. And I have a theory. And hear me out. This is a little harebrained, but here I go. So with the success of Michael Jordan's The Last Dance and the glorification of the good old days, that hard-nosed, nasty basketball, something I've noticed in the playoffs is they're not necessarily making a lot of the petty calls.
Yeah,
like they're kind of letting them play a little further, which I think is sweet. And the NBA is like, okay, tight. This is what people want, is that hard-nosed basketball. No one wants to see this flopping bullshit. So let's just get them in a bubble, and they're going to want to kill each other, and then we'll get that basketball.
I think the playoffs from now on should be in a bubble every year.
Yeah, dude, let's just have, bubble it should be like Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit. These dudes need to draw blood.
All right, actually, you know what? I changed my mind. NBA playoffs can stay. They can go back to normal. March Madness needs to be Thunderdome.
Oh my god, dude.
It basically is anyways, but let's get a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds in a bubble that can't do anything else.
And they can't get pussy.
Yeah.
Damn, and they gotta live in like dorms and shit.
I don't feel that the games, I get what you're saying about the refs are letting things go a little bit more. That's true, but I don't feel like the games are significantly different. The flow still feels the same. The competitiveness is still there. I would argue that it's even higher with all these teams constantly around each other. That competitiveness, like you never lose it because you're constantly bumping into each other. I don't think we lost any. We as viewers did not lose anything by them playing these games in the bubble. I think the teams who should have been in the playoffs are in the playoffs. I think the playoff games are going about the way that they should anyways. Like the teams that should be winning are winning, and in the ways that they should be winning. Going into it, I was a little worried that they're going to be a little slow, or they're not going to, people aren't going to be in shape because they took these couple months off, or it's just going to have this weird AAU tournament vibe, which I played AAU basketball when I was a kid, and like you're at this gym for 3 days straight with all of the same people, and you're running into each other, and you kind of build these little friendships between each other if you play a game against each other, and they're like competitive friendships. And so I thought it might lean more to that, and the guys are kind of goofing off a little bit, but it is like they haven't missed a step being in there. Some players have, obviously, but that happens anyways.
Right.
So that brings us to the real question: is the bubble working?
Yes.
Yes.
Simple answer. I think we touched on it a little bit.
I think we've already kind of outlined that it is and how it is. But just let's go back in time a minute and imagine it's not working yet. They're first announcing, okay, we're going to go to this campus. We're all going to be there together. What were your first impressions? We probably should have put this first before we talked about what we actually think, but that's okay.
I think it just kind of shows how wrong we were. I know I was. I remember when this was announced, I was just, there's no fucking way. This shit'll be broken in a day and a half, if that. A bunch of young men loaded, fucking.
They're just supposed to sit on their asses,
right, and do nothing.
Go fishing in Disney World lakes, which they had to apparently pump full of fish so the players could actually catch things and not get discouraged.
Oh my god, that is so pitiful.
It was more. I think it was more not to like feed their egos, but to like
have something.
Make it something they want to do. Right. If you go out there and you're not catching any fish, you're not going to go back the next day.
Well, and at the same time, it's outside, so it's like, okay, you're not locked up in a room the whole time, and fishing is usually solitary. But I just kept going back to girls, like women, whatever you want to call it. I thought these men who like weren't married or didn't have their significant others close or were just used to hitting and quitting on the road, they're going to have a flock of women there anyways, and that's what I thought was going to be impossible to maintain. Is just, I thought this was going to be like the Olympic Village and STDs, like shit's just going to be popping. Except
there aren't any outsiders, or like they're not allowed to have guests, and they've actually stuck to that. I agree. I thought it was a cool idea, and that if anyone could pull it off, if any of these leagues could pull it off, it was the NBA. They're the most forward thinking. They're the ones that are going to put the planning behind it. If the NFL tried this, it would have been a clusterfuck from day one.
Yeah.
So, and a good thing that the NBA has going for it is you've got 12 to 15 people on a roster. And I don't know if they have those injury slots right now. It's 12 and then 3 injury slots. I don't know if they brought those injury slot guys or not. When you look at the benches, it looks like they might be there. You've got a couple trainers, you've got a couple coach, and all of the coaches didn't go. Usually a team's got like 5 or 6 coaches. I think only 2 or 3 went. So the teams are small and the staffs are small. NFL, you got 53 guys on a team. You've got a coaching staff of like 20. Same with baseball. You've got at least 27 guys on a team and a coaching staff of 5 to 10 guys. It's just, those are too big to keep. So you got 32 NFL teams, 50 players a team. That's 1,500 just players, right?
Right. And then,
as opposed to 12 and 22 is 240, 250.
Right.
I'm not good at quick math off the top of my head. Like I have to write it out. If I can write the numbers out, I can do the math all day. But when I have to do it in my head, I lose the spots. Anyway, maybe 500 people tops are in the NBA bubble, whereas like just players are 1,500 in the NBA or in the NFL. So
they got it at a serenely designated place too. The NFL would never agree on a concrete place ever.
Well, that's the other thing. And Disney World, the Wild World of Sports, is set up like they do all kinds of tournaments like this for basketball and baseball, like they have things constantly going on there. So they know how to run these types of tournaments with all these different teams and people there. And like they do the I think they do some of the Pro Bowl stuff on that campus. So maybe there's already a little working relationship there with the NFL, but I just don't think they can make it work with that many people.
No chance. I don't think they have enough resources.
Right. And the other thing the NBA has going for it is the players and the teams have a lot of respect for Adam Silver and the league as a whole. And so I think going in, more people than not would follow the rules because of that respect for the league and for Adam Silver. I don't think the NFL has that.
Not a chance, man. They think Roger Goodell is a fucking chump.
He is. There have only been 3 violations so far. One is the Lou Williams one, and there are 2 others that I didn't like. They were kind of minor things. Somebody got food delivered from outside when they weren't supposed to, and I don't even know what the third one was. But there have been 3 violations. Also going into it, the NBA is, as we said before, they're a league that's going to come up with a full and complete plan on how to run it and handle any positive cases if they arose, handle, people breaking the rules. And like, I just gotta say, can we get Adam Silver as a White House consultant or something? Like, dude knows how to plan something.
Let's just have him be the NFL commissioner on top of this shit.
Well, yeah, I'd be fine with that. But right now, the whole country needs Adam Silver.
Whoa.
That's why I said the White House consultant, not an NFL consultant.
That might as well be the White House. I mean, they have such a, heated relationship right now.
That's true. Do you have any issues within the bubble? What are your personal issues with either watching games like this or what's going on with it? Or have you noticed any issues that the players and teams have had?
Really, I think, I just don't think anyone's really in a groove necessarily. Like, I think you have...
Luka is.
Well, yeah, no shit. But I don't think... I think these guys talk a lot about, like, shaving preseason and shaving, the number of regular season games down while maintaining their play so they can be good for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Well, I still think they had a lot less games. Either way, it's something that I think these guys need to play. They say they didn't want it, and now that they don't have nearly the formulaic flow, of the season into the playoffs and into this real primetime basketball, I think it's kind of screwed with a few people. But say the bubble lasts until next year, I think they'd be fine.
Yeah, so I think what's going on there is more the rust of not playing for 2 months, right? It's not. Yeah. I think I don't know exactly, and again, this is probably something I should have looked up. I think before the stop, they were at like 60 to 65 games out of the 82 game season. So with the 8 regular season seeding games that they had inside the bubble, it brought them around 72, 73 games for each team to make the seedings. And I don't think it's that they didn't play enough games, so, they weren't in great playoff shape yet. I think it's more the 2-month break in between those games that they weren't fully going yet. It was like starting a new season. The start of a new season is always a little rough and rusty just because you've had that break. So I think we're seeing more of that than if you shorten the regular season to 72 games instead of 82 games and then went right into the playoffs, I think you would be fine. But if you take a 2-month break in the middle of that, then that's where you have issues.
Yeah, that's killer. That is stunningly killer.
Yeah. My issues are the jerseys with the injustice slogans on. Let me just get it out here. I love the idea. Any opportunity for people with a platform to bring awareness to injustices of the world is a good one. But here's the problem. I didn't watch enough NBA before the shutdown. I don't know who half these players are, and I can't figure it out because their nameplates are in the wrong place.
Yeah, there's
I wish it was opposite. I want to see the name above the number and then the slogan under the number. Okay? Can we do that, NBA? Next time we get a bubble, can we do that?
Yeah.
So I can see who people are without having to squint my eyes and try and figure it out. Like, I know who Giannis is. I know who LeBron is. But, like, the 8th man on Dallas, no idea.
I thought you had a big TV, Calvin. Come on now.
Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, I can't even remember that it's him out there when he's out there.
I thought he was on the Bulls for a while.
He probably was. He's on the Mavs now. I learned that 3 days ago, so don't feel bad.
I don't. I won't feel bad.
I also think it would be cool if they change their slogans from time to time.
Like, I mean, mix it up. That'd make for nice limited edition jerseys. People would be all about that life.
I think they're auctioning all of these ones off after the season's over, so
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I had this whole thing on LeBron, not choosing to wear one of the slogans on his nameplate and how he doesn't ever do enough with his voice. But, since then, as we talked about at the top, he's come out very strongly against the latest black person being shot for being black incident in Wisconsin with Jacob Blake. So I don't know that that's really fair to throw it in here. So LeBron, I forgive you.
I forgive you, man.
And the other issue is apparently the food isn't really up to NBA player standards. That's why you got to go to strip clubs and get chicken wings.
Well, I mean, no food ever would be. Honestly, I don't think they just have the. There's so many different people there, man, and they're not bringing in everyone's private chefs and all that stuff and their meal plans. Right. And I imagine Florida's probably not the best place to get. Like, you can get a certain kind of produce. But I'm guessing, the case of Idaho potatoes coming all the way from
really great
Idaho.
Oranges, man.
Oh, fuck yeah. But no one gives a shit about oranges in the bubble. They want steak. Bacon. Not good steak and bacon there, man.
Well, so here's the thing. Disney World has good food. I go to Disney World a lot.
What's the best thing at Disney World?
I couldn't. I would be doing disservice to all of the world of Disney by trying to claim one thing off the top of my head right here, because there's so much food and yeah, there's too much. But I will say this: their chicken tenders are on point.
On point, huh?
But I don't think they're eating the Disney World food. They're eating like it's not even the cafeteria food, because all these hotels have cafeterias in them where you can go and you can get your meals like when you're in the hotel, and like that food's even usually pretty good. And so I don't know if maybe the way it's being prepared or like the way they deliver it, since they are bringing it all to the rooms. I don't know what's going on there, but not up to NBA player standards.
Poor NBA players.
Poor NBA players.
You poor bastards.
How have they made it this far?
I don't know. So
let's talk about the actual games for a little bit here and how we think the actual season's going to play out. Let's start with the seedings and the matchups of the first round. Some of these are already done, and by the time this releases Monday, a few more may be done. So just keep in mind, we're recording this Wednesday, August 26th. So if play resumes, some of these teams may be into the second round by then. In the East, we got the number 1 seed Bucks versus the number 8 seed Magic, number 2 seed Raptors versus the number 7 seed Nets, and the Raptors have already swept the Nets in that series. Then we have the number 3 seed Celtics versus the 76ers, the 6 seed 76ers. Celtics have swept the 76ers, and the 4 seed Pacers versus the 5 seed Heat, and the Heat swept the Pacers already. So 3 sweeps.
Yeah.
In the East.
A lot of Heat, a lot of shit going on there in the East.
The Bucks were the only ones not to sweep, and that's because the Magic won game 1 in like I don't even know how. I think they just had like the hometown crowd behind them because they're in Orlando. I don't know what was going on.
Probably, and then they're all like, "Yeah, fuck this, blow me."
So on the Western Conference, we've got the 1 seed Lakers versus the 8 seed Blazers, the 2 seed Clippers versus the 7 seed Mavericks, 3 seed Nuggets versus the 6 seed Jazz, and the 4 seed Rockets versus the 5 seeded Thunder.
West is tighter.
Yeah.
A lot tighter.
Yeah. A lot going on in the West. The Lakers there look like they're going to run away with their matchup if they ever play Game 5. I think they'll pretty much wrap up the Blazers in that. But who knows? With this canceling a couple of games and postponing, the Blazers might come out hot.
They might. I mean, it's been known to happen.
So, have you been watching a lot of the bubble?
No, I have not.
Have you been watching any of the bubble?
Yes, I have.
Have you been watching
bits of the bubbles?
Highlights of the bubble?
100% highlights of the bubble.
Okay, cool. That's fine. So you know what's going on. Who have you been most intrigued by? Who's the most exciting team player that you've been watching or wanting to pay attention to?
I mean, player is Luka, for sure. That dude is fucking killing it. He's going really beast mode right now. He's just playing really, really fun basketball in the sense
and on one ankle for the most part.
Basically. I mean, he's just his all-around game. Even if they lost every game in the series, I would still enjoy his play.
Yeah.
His all-around game is just so fun to watch, man. It is. And the fact that I don't know, he kind of came out of nowhere for me. Like, I remember him being a phenom, and I'm very wary of European guys because of Nikola, whatever the fuck his name was. Mirotic. Yeah, fuck that guy. But yeah, seeing him come out there and ball outrageously and see his passion for the game, like, dude, that dude plays hard as shit.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun to watch. And I like watching the Mavs as a whole. Oh, go ahead.
The Mavs are tight.
Mm-hmm. Especially when Porzingis has been hurt the last couple games. Hoping he's back by game 6 now. Because it's just kind of like this nagging ankle or leg injury, where he's in or out game time decision for the last 2 games. But with Doncic and Porzingis, I really think they have a chance to take the Clippers. And I would really like to see them beat the Clippers because I'd much rather watch more of the Mavs than the garbage pile that the Clippers put out there every other game.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
the Clippers are. Yeah, Kawhi's great. Lou Williams is great when he's out there and he's on. It's just like Paul George is either hot or cold, and it's really hard to watch when he's cold. Same with whichever Morris twin is on that team. And the Clippers don't have enough redeeming players that I want to watch. Like, I would much rather watch the Mavs.
Right. Oh, 100%. I like Porzingis. I like Doncic. They're fun young players to watch, and they're unique at their position. Like, Doncic he seems like a pretty thick dude, and he's nimble. Like, he reminds me of Charles Barkley, like a dude that can just jump through the gym and can rebound like a motherfucker. And then you got Porzingis, who's just a unicorn.
He's a unicorn, yeah. That's the only way to describe him, really.
Yeah, I mean, that suits him. He looks like he put on a little muscle too.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else you're watching tightly?
Lakers. I mean, just because we lost Kobe. The commercials for the Lakers, for the Kobe Memorial, and always, I associate that with the Lakers, of course, have been on point lately. Like, I damn near cried the other day seeing this.
The only commercials I see ever are the Snoop Dogg Corona commercials, and they're annoying as shit. I've seen like 65 Snoop Dogg Corona commercials.
65, that's incredibly accurate. I thought you'd say like 420 or 420 or 69.
65.
I don't know.
It's 65.
Yes. You're very close to 69, Calvin. You almost got a tee-hee out of me, but you didn't get one. You fuck.
Sorry. I've been counting the Snoop Dogg commercials.
But yeah, I mean, there's one for Kobe that is just like super heartbreaking. Dude, it's Anthony Davis and LeBron.
Yeah, they're good. I think we'll get to more of them later. I'm liking watching Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz.
He's
really
super fun to watch.
And now that Conley's back, that helps too.
I mean, I've mentioned him before that I've really interested in him.
The point guards episode or shooting guards episode.
He's very interesting. Weird question though, but is Kuzma still on the Lakers?
Oh yeah, he is. He comes off the bench.
Okay, that is perfect for that guy.
Yep. It was nice in the early days of the bubble that we got to see some of the Pelicans and Zion. I didn't get to watch much of Zion in the original run of the season, so like it was kind of cool to get to see him play a couple games. Early bubble TJ Warren. It was like Linsanity all over again.
Dude, he was fucking killing it. Oh my god.
So in the bubble before the playoffs, he was averaging 31 and 6. And then once they came against the Heat, he just completely fizzled out.
Yeah, he's like Derrick Rose in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Going against LeBron.
Any game where Dame time comes up is fun. It was great in the playing games, and he's had some moments in this first round against the Lakers. It's fun to watch, but I just don't think it has staying power against the Lakers. He doesn't have enough help. And then I wish I had watched more of Ja Morant in the bubble games and in the playing games, and I kept missing their games when they were on.
It's worth recording.
I know. I really want to love Ja Morant, and I don't ever go out of my way to watch him.
You bastard.
I know. So who has no shot at winning the playoffs?
Paul George, dude. I'm not even going to wait for you to finish that question.
This was supposed to be teams, but yeah, Paul George too.
Paul George, fuck that dude. He's got 0. Let me list these out for you listeners in case you don't know them. Game 1, 10 for 22. Game 2, 4 of 17. Game 3, 3 of 16. Game 4, 8 of 21. And then he popped off Game 5, 12 of 18.
Game 5 was rough for the playoff P haters out there.
So, yeah, fucking Paul George, man, with that goddamn hairline.
Yeah.
It's intense.
I was like captivated by that the other day.
Well, I mean, I saw a commercial.
Perfect, but it's also usually like if you've got that good of a lineup, you're mostly shaved down. But he's got the half fro going on and a perfect lineup halfway down his forehead somehow. I don't get it.
Weird eyebrows, like very expressive. They just clash with the hairline, man. He reminds me of Jimmy Butler. It's like those two always look surprised to me because their eyebrows are so close to their fucking hairline.
You look deep into these players' eyes when you're watching them, don't you?
Well, I mean, I just noticed weird shit. Like, I saw a commercial with Paul George, or it was like a little tidbit on YouTube or whatever, because I was watching some highlights. And as soon as it came on, it's like, man, look at that fucking hairline. Look at them eyebrows, dude. Oh, my God.
The hairline is captivating.
That's the best way to say it. It's captivating.
Okay, so when I asked this question on the outline, I meant which teams had no shot, not which player personally has no shot, but like props to playoff P. You got me there. And my answer was the Magic. It almost felt like they're only in the playoffs because this whole thing's taking place in Orlando. They won that game 1, but that was mostly a fluke. And then the 76ers also. They got bounced out early. They were the first team out, and they just looked awful.
They've been very quiet.
They looked like they had no business on being on the court with the Celtics. They fired their coach already now that their season's over. And I think the rest of the team is going to get blown up real quick in the short off season that they have, and it's going to get blown up hard. Oh, I don't know who's moving and where they're moving, but that team is not going to look anything similar to what it looked this year.
No, they're going to get they're going to get high caliber veteran and a first round pick and a first round pick the year after that and the year after that.
They're going to go right back to the process. They're going to keep Embiid and sell everybody else off.
No, get rid of Embiid.
I feel like you got to keep Embiid because he is the process. Like you gave him that nickname. You got to keep him. Get rid of Simmons and everybody else.
That process is already fulfilled. Like if you think about
it. Yeah, but Embiid can't take the process nickname to another team now. Like Embiid can't be the process in Minnesota.
Dude, there's like 27. He could be the process in Chicago.
You just want Embiid in Chicago. That's the whole thing.
I would fucking love that. Him and Lauri Markkanen. Oh, God, that'd be nasty.
So, going into the bubble, do you feel like any teams benefited from the delay and going into the bubble? Maybe injuries that have healed or just they had a little chance to gel, anything like that?
I have like a pick and an addendum. So okay. I got a team and a player.
Okay.
I think the Lakers for sure have benefited dramatically from going into the bubble.
Interesting.
Mostly because I think a lot of those guys could have used that rest. Like I think Anthony Davis can turn it on he could have just taken a huge shit after eating a giant dinner at his grandma's, and if you challenged him to a game of ball outside, he'd fucking school you.
Yeah, they're switch flippers. They can just be on. Yeah.
Anytime, any day. I mean, what's LeBron? 36 now? 37?
Something like that. He was 18 in 2003. It's been 17 years, so 35, 36, yeah.
I mean, he just goes out and balls. Turns in 23 to 25, 7 assists and 9 boards.
I'm all over the quick math today. I'm proud of myself.
You're fucking killing it, dog. But I think the Lakers, that's what they need is rest. I mean, they're both floor generals, so it's like AI said, it's practice, man. He doesn't need to practice.
I'll give you that, but I'm going to disagree when we come to the next point. But I'll give you it on the point you made for it.
All right, and the player is Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been doing.
Dude's a bubble stud.
Yeah, very well, very well. When he got drafted out of Mizzou, I thought that was the dumbest pick I had ever seen. Super dumb, because I just had a gut feeling the Bulls were gonna take him, or like move up to take him. Like I just felt like the Bulls were gonna fuck it up and take this broken ass dude. It's nice to be kind of wrong a little bit, I guess, and see that.
I think Denver as a whole has kind of come together a little bit more in this situation than maybe they would have in like playing out the rest of the season in a regular way.
He's realized he's not going to be the main star. Like once he realized he's a good complementary piece, then
well, especially with how well Jamal Murray's doing right now too, that helps.
Right, it takes more pressure off.
And then you got Jokic, who can pass the ball anywhere when he needs to. And so if I accidentally mix up the Nuggets and the Jazz for the rest of this podcast, just let it go, or actually call me on it and let me know.
I almost did the same thing, dude.
I confuse who is on which team, and I don't know why, but those teams are just like, they're one big, giant Western Flatlands team to me.
They're similar, man. The uniforms are just too.
I was trying to get my daughters to help me bet on the Jazz, and it's terrible that they're playing each other too, because it makes it even more confusing. But I was trying to get them help me pick, the games from a couple days ago, and it was Jazz and Nuggets, and they're like, "Oh, we should go with the Jazz. We should go with the Jazz," because Jazz was favored, and they had won more games at that point. And I was like, "Well, I like the Jazz better. I like Donovan Mitchell. I like Mike Conley. Gobert's a good player, but he's a shitty dude. I like the Jazz better." And the Jazz are the team I wanted to pick with Mitchell and Conley and all those guys. But I'm like, are you sure? Maybe we should pick the Nuggets. And I'm like trying to talk them into the Nuggets, thinking that the Nuggets are the team I like better. And then I'm like, and then once the game is on, I'm like, oh wait, no, we made the right pick. Except the bet lost.
So you didn't make the right pick.
No, right. They should have let me talk them into taking the Nuggets. Anyway. I agree with you on Michael Porter Jr. He's looked really good in the bubble, and I think just having this extra time to I think maybe taking a step back from the season allowed him to, like you said, reevaluate his role in the team and just become more focused and ready to play. I think a lot of rookies probably benefited from the bubble because now they can just focus on basketball. Rookie coming into the league, they get all this money, they get girls, as you've said, they get toys. They get all kinds of stuff. All these distractions can come up that once you've been in the league, 3, 4, 5 years, you kind of figure out how to manage those distractions and, still do those things you want, but also focus on basketball when it's time to focus on basketball. 18, 19-year-old kids, they don't know how to do that.
No, 100%.
When they've got millions of dollars. And so maybe the bubble helped Michael Porter Jr. refocus a little bit.
Probably. Dude's so full of adrenaline and fucking piss and vinegar, you won't even believe it.
All right, so I've got 4 things here.
Oh my god.
But they'll be quick. I think Portland benefited. It gave, more opportunities for Dame time to come in because they got those play-in games. I think if you play out the rest of the season, they might not get there. Yeah, Dame Lillard is great in make-or-break scenarios. But if you're playing game 70, game 71, game 72 in an 82-game season, you don't get to Dame time. No, and then maybe it's too late. Yeah, then maybe it's too late to bring it back at the last minute. I think Dallas really took the opportunity to kind of gel as a team. We talked a lot about them already, and I think they've really got a shot at beating the Clippers here because they feel like the most complete team here. I would say them and Denver just feel like units that are playing well together.
I'd agree with
that. Indiana did for a little while because Oladipo returned from injury. He wasn't going to be able to play for the rest of the season, but because they got that break, Oladipo comes back. Did not help them in the actual playoffs, though, having him there.
He's not a make-or-break player, in my opinion.
No, but he's someone you need as a starter, I think. If they don't have him, they get, swept harder by the Heat. Maybe they don't even make the top 8 seeds. I don't know.
They look even more bitchy.
Yeah. And then, so my last point is, it's a little more nebulous, all of the low seeds in these matchups, because there's no home court advantage and no travel. So they get a little bit of that advantage back.
Yeah, maybe, nice. But they also lose like a bit of that underdog edge too.
Dallas doesn't seem to have lost it. Dame Lillard hasn't lost it. The rest of his team has, but Dame Lillard hasn't.
It's still one pick.
All right, so which teams did the delay/bubble hurt the most? Either players opting out, getting sick, injuries. The Nets.
That's so hard, dude.
Yeah.
They've been decimated.
Dinwiddie and DeAndre Jordan opted out. They had somebody else opt out too, but it wasn't one of their main guys. They're a team that wasn't going to get to the championship anyways.
No.
But you get Spencer Dinwiddie and DeAndre Jordan there. Maybe you get a higher seed. Maybe you have a chance in that first round matchup. I don't know.
Well, either way, they're decently big names. Like, they're a draw. So
Right.
when you don't have them, like, that certainly hurts.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be a good team next year with Kyrie and Durant in there playing also.
Yeah.
But, I mean, talk about the Nets. You got Karis LeVert, who I think benefited greatly from the bubble, because this is a guy that a lot of people didn't know about, or like he never got his chance to shine, and now he's on national TV every night playing in these games, and he really showed out. Like, it wasn't good enough for his team to be good, but I think he earned himself a big contract going into next season that he wouldn't have otherwise earned, and he probably doesn't deserve, but somebody will overpay him because it's the NBA and people always overpay.
It's Jeremy Lin all over again. Good for him getting his money.
So going into this, when the bubble started, I was thinking the Lakers and the Clippers were going to be the hardest hit. The Lakers missing Avery Bradley, he opted out. Rondo is out with injury, but he's supposedly coming back some point in the playoffs. And with the Clippers, Lou Williams did his whole thing where he's gone and out for 2 weeks when he comes back. Montrezl Harrell, same thing. He leaves the bubble and has to quarantine when he gets back. But, I mean, those two teams are at the top of the West. They were making the playoffs anyways. It didn't really affect them much, it didn't seem like. And they've got all those players. I mean, Avery Bradley's not back. Rajon Rondo, I think, should be back next series. So I think they kind of rebounded from what they had lost in the beginning.
Definitely.
Utah had an issue in the beginning of the playoffs with Mike Conley had left for the birth of his third or fourth child, and when he came back, he had to be quarantined, and so he missed, I think, 2 or 3 games in the first round, and those were harder fought games than they should have been if Conley was there. I mean, Utah's definitely a better team with Conley there. It takes pressure off Donovan Mitchell. And I think this one extra sucks because he tried to plan this baby for the offseason. Like a lot of pro athletes do. Like they try and plan having their babies for when they're not going to be playing so they can be there for the birth. Or, at least it would have been during the playoffs where it's an easy trip back and forth. And that all got screwed up by COVID.
Yeah, COVID fucked everything up.
Yeah. Fuck you, COVID. I said it.
You're a dick. I hate you.
So, are there any teams or players that didn't make it into the actual playoffs that you wish would have?
Kind of wish the Spurs would have made it, man, just for, continuity? Continuity?
I don't know that they made it last year, did they?
Yeah, they made it last year. This was the first time they haven't made it in forever.
Yeah, I mean, the Spurs are a legendary team at this point, and
basically, yeah.
It's weird them not being around. Again, I'm going to go back to Memphis. Wish they were there so I could watch more Ja Morant. And I would have liked to see what Devin Booker could have done in the playoffs. The Suns went 8-0 in the bubble, but it wasn't enough to get them into the actual playoffs. And Devin Booker was lights out. I think it would have been cool to see him on a big stage against LeBron and Anthony Davis and see what they could really do.
That'd certainly be interesting.
They would have got bounced in the first round pretty easily, but
still,
it would have been nice to see Booker play because he is a superstar level talent.
Agreed, definitely.
So, let's do Twitter first.
Hit it.
No, let's not do Twitter first. Let's answer this question first. Who do you think is in the NBA Finals this season? Which
Lakers.
2 teams?
Lakers.
Okay, you got to have 2 teams though.
Bucks.
Okay, I'm in the same boat. Lakers, Bucks. Great.
Lakers, Bucks.
Now let's go to Twitter, and we asked who is going to win the NBA bubble championship or the NBA championship inside the bubble. The options were Lakers, Bucks, Luka, or other.
Luka. I know which one I voted for.
I would have voted for Luka had I voted on this. 36 votes. The Lakers got 50%. Bucks got 27.8%. And Luka got 8.3%. Shout out Luka.
Fucking Luka, man.
And then other got 13.9%. Only 2 comments today. And I don't even really want to read the first one, but I will because it's there and I said I would. Micro Break Podcast at micro_break. Edit. Quote, who is going to win? End quote. Don't be that guy. Twitter doesn't have an edit button. I hit the O instead of the I. They're right next to each other. It's not my fault. Don't be this guy on somebody else's Twitter feed. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't need you editing me. Like, people know what it meant.
You fucker.
I wasn't going to go that far, but...
I said it for you, Calvin.
Thanks. Cheers to Comics Podcast at Cheers to Comics. He says the Nuggets are going to pull it out. We need that ship. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I said maybe if none of the other teams actually return from their boycotts, then the Nuggets might win.
Dang.
If the Nuggets are the only team that are like, nah, fuck that, we're not boycotting. We'll take all these forfeits.
Yeah, give me the wins.
That would be kind of funny to see a team do
See,
that.
it's fucking Denver. It's like, we're not going to fucking worry about this, man. We're going to...
Our best shot was with Melo 15 years ago, and he never brought it here, so we need this.
We need it.
So thank you to everyone who voted on Twitter. That's at APA something at alone_podcast. We try and do polls every week, give shout outs on the show. Head over there for them on Wednesdays, which is recording day. So that brings us to the big question for us. And I think I already know your answer because you kind of gave it in the last question. But who wins the championship?
Fucking Lakers, bro. Lakers.
Yes, the Lakers.
Lakers. If they don't win this shit, I will be so surprised.
So, before the actual game started, I looked at the betting odds, and I put the money I was going to put on champion on the Lakers.
So how much will you win with the money you put?
Not very much. I'd probably put like $10 on it. Yeah.
$10, nice.
And so the reason why is in weird situations like this, talent is what's going to win. And the Lakers have 2 top 10 talent guys on their team, and all their role guys fit in their roles and are playing well. Missing Avery Bradley, that's going to hurt them a little bit, but I think we've seen in the first round that it hasn't hurt that much. I think you could say the same for the Clippers almost, but I don't think that Paul George is a top 10 player. Kawhi definitely is.
Not anymore, at least.
And they're struggling with the Mavs right now, and I'm really, really hoping that Porzingis comes back and the Mavs can pull that off.
Fucking dominates them.
Yeah. The Bucks have a good shot here too, because they've got Giannis, who's maybe the most talented player in the NBA and likely going to win the MVP. He already won the Defensive Player of the Year award.
He's nasty, dude. He's Jordan-esque.
And yeah, he absolutely is. And their role guys, I feel like their role guys are better than the Lakers' role guys. That 7-game series is going to be really good.
They're younger too, man. They're more dynamic.
I think this is going to be Giannis's best shot at a championship in Milwaukee, just because of the weird situation where talent wins out. When you have a weird situation like this, you either have to have a perfect team, which is what the Mavs are kind of being right now if Porzingis can come back, or you just have to have the most talented guys, because at the end of the day, if somebody needs to go one-on-one, LeBron's going to go one-on-one and win. Giannis is going to go one-on-one and win. Anthony Davis is going to go one-on-one and win. So if you have those guys, if you have more of those guys on your team, you have a better shot at winning.
No doubt.
It's the same reason I think the Chiefs are going to repeat as Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, probably.
They have the most talent, so you can say, well, we can scheme against it. We can figure out Mahomes. We can figure out Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and all this. But at the end of the day, your practices are going to be different all season long. Your prep is going to be different all season long. And so Tyreek Hill's still the fastest receiver in the NFL. Pat Mahomes is still the best quarterback in like the last 30 years. Travis Kelce's the best tight end in the league. The defense needs work, but they're going to score points because they're talented, and it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to scheme talent.
No.
At the end of the day, talent is going to be talented.
Talent will prevail because it lends itself to the oh shit moments. It's right. God, I can't think of the word right now. Never mind.
Highlights.
But anyways, the highlights, yeah, whatever. More of the impromptu moments, like they think best on their feet. Talent just lends itself to.
They're going to make
improvisation.
Plays. Yeah, they're going to make plays when plays need to be made.
There you go.
They don't have to scheme everything, which in these situations schemes go out the window because you didn't have time to fully install them.
Right. I mean, Trubisky can't save a pass. Throw a pass to save his fucking life.
You don't have to worry about Trubisky. At Nick Foles, man.
Fuck both of them. I'm not going to get into that right now.
Toronto's a solid team to keep an eye on too. They've got, like I was saying, either need a perfect team or those top 10 guys. Toronto's got one of those perfect teams. I didn't get to watch much of them in the first round because they just kind of waxed the floor with the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
Lowry got hurt in the last game, but I think it was a minor injury. He should be back for the next round. At the end of the day, I don't trust Lowry going one-on-one with anyone on the Bucks and scoring when he needed it. Pascal Siakam, same thing. Giannis can stop him if he needs to. They definitely aren't going to do that against LeBron and Anthony Davis. Be able to just when you need a bucket, you can't trust those guys. But when you need a bucket, you can trust LeBron to get to the bucket. You can trust Anthony Davis to get to the bucket or get fouled or whatever.
Yeah, right. You can put LeBron on like anybody, and it's a tough matchup.
Well, Anthony Davis too. Anthony Davis is quick for a 7-footer.
He's very agile.
He's
nimble.
He's known he was a point guard until he was like 17 because he hit his growth spurt when he was 17. So he was only 6'1" before that. And then he shot up 9 inches his senior year of high school. And so he still has all of those point guard skills and abilities and speed and agility, like you said. So
I bet his knees hurt so bad.
Yeah, I'm sure. And his back.
His eyebrows too.
Just eyebrow.
It's fucking heavy.
You misspoke there. Eyebrow.
Thanks for
love looking at dudes' eyebrows. Nick is the eyebrow whisperer.
I guess apparently.
We're gonna make a t-shirt on our merch store. Nick the eyebrow whisperer.
I love it.
It's just gonna be a picture of your face, and you're gonna be whispering. It's gonna look like you're whispering in somebody's ear, but it's gonna be an eyebrow.
I love it. Love it.
So, any graphic designers listening, you want to draw that up? Sure, thanks.
I'll give you $5.
At least.
Maybe
least $6.
5. Maybe even 6.
You got anything else to say on the bubble before we go?
I do not.
All right, me neither. I hope it comes back, but there's obviously more important things going on. So if it doesn't, I get it. I'm not going to sit here and cry that, we don't have sports again. Right. I get what's going on, and that's more important than basketball. And if the players choose that they feel that's more important than them playing basketball, then that's that.
That's more important, yeah.
Thank you for listening. Check us out on Twitter at APA something, at alone_podcast. We've got the aforementioned merch store out there, tpublic.com/APA something. Pretty much your last chance to get on Patreon if you want. It is coming down at the beginning of September. And we'll put out some bonus content from there to the regular feed. So that probably just took your incentive away to go check it out, but whatever.
You still give us money. We'd appreciate it.
Give us money for a month if you want.
Yeah,
we'll take it. And check out apodcastaboutsomething.com where we have all the episodes listed there if you need to look through the archives, but we're also doing like real long form written articles now. We've got one official one up there now, so go check that out. It's really fun about like weird things that happen in lots of sitcoms that you don't ever see them in the real world. And there will be more to come on that.
Yeah, that's an exciting front. Check it out.
Yeah, we're growing on the
growing.
Written article space. Thank you to those cats for providing all the music for a podcast about something.
You guys stay sassy.
Stay classy.